everyone, my name's Stonesy Boy and welcome back to Reading with Stonesy. Today we are reading 19 pages. But it is the start of part 2 of this book, so you know what, it's not that bad. But yeah, without further ado, let's begin. Chapter 24. Stanley was half asleep as he got in line for breakfast, but in the sight of Mr. Sir awakened him. The left side of Mr. Sir's face had swollen the size of the half of a cantaloupe. There were 3 dark purple jagged lines running across the cheek where the warden had scratched him. The other boys, Stanley had obviously seen Mr. Sir as well, but they had a good sense not to say anything. Stanley put a carton of juice and plastic spoon on his tray. He kept his eyes down and hardly breathed as Mr. Sir ladled some oatmeal-like stuff into his bowl. He brought his tray to the table behind him. A boy from one of the tents said, "Hey, what happened to your face?" There was a crash. Stanley turned to see Mr. Sir holding the boy's head against the oatmeal pot. "Is something wrong with my face?" The boy tried to speak, but didn't. Mr. Sir had him by the throat. "Does anyone see anything wrong with my face?" asked Mr. Sir as he continued to choke the boy. Nobody said anything. Mr. Sir let the boy go. His head banged against the table. He fell to the ground. Mr. Sir stood over him and asked, "How does my face look to you now?" A gurgling sound came from the boy's mouth when he managed to gasp the word, "Fine. I'm kind of handsome, don't you think?" "Yes, Mr. Sir." On the lake, the other boys asked Stanley when he knew about Mr. Sir's face, but he just shrugged and dug his hole, as if he didn't want to talk about it. Maybe it would go away. He worked as hard and as fast as he could, not trying to pace himself, but wanted to get off the lake and away from Mr. Sir as soon as possible. Besides, he knew he wouldn't get a break. "Whenever you're ready, just let me know," Zero had said, the first time the water truck came, and driven by Mr. Budensky. The second time, Mr. Sir was driving. No one said anything except, "Thank you, Mr. Sir," as he filled each canteen. No one even dared to look at his grotesque face. As Stanley waited, he ran his tongue over the roof on his mouth and inside his cheek. His mouth was dry and as parched as the lake. The bright sun reflected off the side mirror of the truck, and Stanley got a shield his eyes from his hand. "Thank you, Mr. Sir," said Magnet as he took his canteen from him. "You thirsty, caveman?" Mr. Sir asked. "Yes, Mr. Sir," Stanley said, handing the canteen to him. Mr. Sir opened the nozzle. The water flowed out of the tank, but it did not go into Stanley's canteen. Instead, he held the canteen right next to the stream of water. Stanley watched the water splatter into the dirt, where it was quickly absorbed with the thirsty ground. Mr. Sir let the water run for about 30 seconds and stopped. "You want more?" he asked. Stanley didn't say anything. Mr. Sir turned the water back on, and again Stanley watched it pour into the dirt. "There should be plenty," he added Stanley's empty canteen. Stanley stared at the dark spot on the ground, which slightly shrank before his eyes. "Thank you, Mr. Sir," he said. Chapter 25. There was a doctor in town of Green Lake 110 years ago. His name was Dr. Hawthorne, and whenever people got sick, they would go to see Dr. Hawthorne, but they would also see Sam, the Onion Man. "Onion, sweet fresh onion," Sam would call as his donkey Mary Lou walked it down the dirt roads of Green Lake. Mary Lou pulled a cart full of onions. Sam's onion field was somewhere on the other side of the lake. Once or twice a week, he would row across the lake and pick a new batch and fill the cart. Sam had big, strong arms, but it would still take all day for him to row across the lake and another day for him to return. Most of the time, he would leave Mary Lou in the shed, which the walkers let him use at no charge, but sometimes he would take Mary Lou on his boat with him. Sam claimed that Mary Lou was almost 50 years old, which was, and still is, extraordinarily old for a donkey. "She eats nothing but raw onions," Sam would say, holding up the white onion between his dark fingers. "It's nature's magic vegetable. If a person ate nothing but raw onions, he could live to be 200 years old." Sam was much older than 20, so nobody was quite sure what Mary Lou was really as old as he said he was. How would he know? Still, nobody ever argued with Sam, and whenever they were sick, they would go not only to Doc Arthur, but to Sam. Sam always gave the same advice: eat plenty of onions. He said that onions were good for the digestion, the liver, the stomach, the lungs, the heart, and the brain. If you don't believe me, just look at old Mary Lou there. She's never been sick a day in her life. She also had many different ointments, lotions, syrups, and pastes all about onion juice and different parts of the onion plant. This is one cured asthma, the other one has warts and pimples, other is remedy for arthritis, and even a special ointment which claimed to cure baldness. Just rub it on your husband's head every night when he's sleeping, Mr. Colwood, and soon his hair will be thick as long as Mary Lou's tail. Doc Hawthorne did not resent Sam. The folks of Great Lake were afraid to take chances. They would get regular medicine from Doc Hawthorne and an onion consultations from Sam. After they got over their illness, no one would be sure, not even Doc Hawthorne, which of the two treatments had done the trick. Doc Hawthorne was almost completely bald, and in the morning his head was smelled of onions. Whenever Catherine Barlow brought onions, she always bought an extra one or two and would let Mary Lou eat them out of her hand. "Is something wrong?" Sam asked her one day as she was feeding Mary Lou. "You seem distracted." "Oh, just the weather," said Miss Catherine. "It looks like rain clouds moving in." "Me and Mary Lou, we like the rain," said Sam. "Oh, I like it fine," said Miss Catherine. She rubbed Donkey's rough hair on the top of his head. It's just that the roof leaks in the schoolhouse. I can fix that, said Sam. What are you going to do? Catherine joked. Fill the holes with onion paste. Sam laughed. I'm good with my hands, he told her. I built my own boat. If it leaked, I'd be in big trouble. Catherine didn't help but notice his strong, firm hands as he made the deal. He agreed to fix the leaky roof in exchange for 6 jars of spiced peaches. And it took Sam a week to fix the roof because he only had to work in the afternoons. After school let out and before night classes began. Sam wasn't allowed to attend classes, but he was a Negro. But they let him fix the building. Miss Catherine usually stayed in the schoolhouse, grading papers and such. But while Sam worked on the roof, he enjoyed what little conversation they were able to have, shouting up and down at each other. He was surprised at the interest in poetry. When he took a break, he would sometimes read a poem to him. One more on occasion, he would start to read a poem in a poem Longfellow. They would only hear and finish her from memory. He was sad when the roof was finished. Is something wrong, he asked. No, you did a wonderful job, he said. It's just that the windows won't open. The children and I would enjoy the breeze now and then. I can fix that, said Sam. She gave him 2 more jars of peaches and Sam fixed the windows. It was easy to talk to him when he was working on the windows. He told her a secret onion field on the other side of the lake. It's where the onions grow all year round and water runs uphill. And then the windows were fixed. She complained that her desk wobbled. I can fix that, said Sam. The next time she saw him, she mentioned that the door wasn't hanging straight, and he got to spend another afternoon with him while she fixed the door. By the end of the first semester, Onion Sam had turned the whole rundown house into a well-crafted, freshly painted jewel of the building that the whole town was proud of. People passing by would stop to admire it. That's our schoolhouse. It shows how much we value education here in Green Lake. The only person who wasn't happy was Miss Catherine. She'd run out of things needing to be fixed. She sat at her desk one afternoon listening to pitter-patter of the rain on the roof. No water leaked into the classroom except for a few drops that came into her eyes. Onions, hot sweet onions, Sam called out on the street. She ran to him, wanted to throw her arms around him, but couldn't bring herself to do it. Instead, she hugged Mary Lou's neck. Is something wrong? He asked her. Oh, Sam, she said, my heart is breaking. I can fix that, said Sam. He turned to him. He took both her hands and kissed her. Because of the rain, there was nobody else out in the street. Even if there was, Catherine and Sam would have noticed. They were lost in their own world. At the moment, however, Haiti Parker stepped out of the general store. They didn't see her, but she saw them. She pointed at a quivering figure in the direction and whispered, God will punish you. Chapter 26. There are no telephones, but word spread quickly through the small town. By the end of the day, everyone in Green Lake had heard a school teacher had kissed the onion picker. Not one child showed up to school the next morning. Miss Catherine sat alone in the classroom and wondered if he had lost track of the day of the week. Perhaps it was Saturday. It wouldn't have surprised her. Her brain and heart had been spinning ever since Sam kissed her. She heard a noise outside the door. Then suddenly a mob of men and women came storming into the school building. They were all led by Trout Walker. There she is, Trout shouted. The devil woman. The mob was turning over desks and ripping down the bulletin boards. She's been poisoning our children's brains with books, Trout declared. They began pulling all the books in the center of the room. Think about what you're doing, cried Miss Catherine. Someone had grabbed her, tearing her dress, but she managed to get out of the building. She ran out of the sheriff's office. The sheriff had his feet up at his desk and drinking a bottle of whiskey. Morning, Miss Catherine, he said. Destroy my schoolhouse, she said, gasping for breath. They'll burn it to the ground if no one doesn't stop them. Just calm your pretty self down, the sheriff said with a soul withdrawal. And let me see what you talk about. He got up to his desk and walked over. Trout Walker has. Now, don't go say anything bad about Charles Walker, said the sheriff. We don't have much time, urged Catherine. You gotta stop him. You're sure pretty, said the sheriff. Miss Catherine stared at him in horror. Kiss me, said the sheriff. She slapped him across the face. He laughed. You kissed the onion picker, why don't you kiss me? He tried to slap him again, but she caught her by the hand. He tried to wiggle free. You're drunk, she yelled. I'm always get drunk before a hanging. A hanging who? It's against the law for a Negro to kiss a white woman. Well, then you have to hang me too, said Catherine, because I kissed him back. I ain't against the law for you to kiss him, said the sheriff explained. It's just for him to kiss you. We're equal under the eyes of God, she declared. The sheriff laughed. Then if Sam and I are equal, why won't you kiss me? He laughed again. I'll make you a deal. Once you kiss and I won't hang your boyfriend. I'll just run him out of town. Miss Catherine jerked her hand free. As she hurried to the door, she heard the sheriff say, the law will punish Sam and God will punish you. She stepped back into the street and saw smoke rising in the schoolhouse. She ran to the lakefront where Sam was hitching Mary Lou for the onion cart. Thank God I found you, she sighed, hugging him. We've got to get out of here now. What? Someone had been kissing yesterday, she said. They're going to set fire to the schoolhouse. The sheriff is going to hang you. Sam hesitated for a moment, and he couldn't quite believe it. He didn't want to believe it. Come on, Mary Lou. We have to leave Mary Lou behind, said Catherine. Sam had stared a moment, his tears in his eyes. Okay. Sam's boat in the water, tied to a tree by the long rope. He untied it, and they waded through the water and climbed aboard. His powerful arms rowed them away from the shore, but his powerful arms were no match for Trout Walker's motorized boat. They were a little more halfway across the lake when Miss Catherine heard a loud roar in the engine, and she saw ugly black smoke. These are the facts. The Walker boat smashed into Sam's boat. Sam was shot and killed in the water. Catherine Barlow was rescued against her wishes, and they turned to shore. She saw Mary Lou's body laying on the ground. The donkey had been shot in the head. What all had happened 110 years ago? Since then, one drop of rain has fallen on Green Lake. You make the decision, who did God punish? 3 days after Sam's death, Miss Catherine shot the sheriff while she was sitting in a chair drinking a cup of coffee, and she carefully applied a fresh coat of red lipstick and gave him a kiss as he asked for. For the next 20 years, kissing Kate Barlow was one of the most feared outlaws in all the West. Chapter 27. Stanley shoved a shovel into the ground. The hole was about 3.5 feet deep in the center. He grinded out his pride over the dirt, then flung it off to the side. The sun was almost directly overhead. He glanced at the canteen lying beside his hole. He knew it was half full when she didn't take a drink just yet. He had to drink sparingly, because he didn't know who would be driving the water truck the next time it came. 3 days had passed, and the warden had scratched Mr. Sir. Every time Mr. Sir delivered water, he poured Stanley straight into the ground. Unfortunately, Mr. Budensky delivered the water more often than Mr. Sir. Mr. Budensky was obviously aware of what Mr. Sir was doing, because he was always gave Stanley a little extra. He filled the Stanley's canteen, then let Stanley take a long drink, then stop it off for him. It helped, too, that Zero was digging some of Stanley's hole for him. Although, as Stanley expected, the other boys did not like seeing Stanley sitting around while they were working. They sang things like, "Who died and made you king?" or "It must be nice to have your own personal slave." And then he tried to point out that he was the only one who took blame for the sunflower seeds. The other boys said it was his fault because he had the one spilled them. "I risked my life to get those seeds," Magnet had said, "and all I got was one lousy handful." Stanley also tried to explain that he needed to save his energy and reach Zero how to read. But the other boys had just mocked him. "Same old story, ain't it, Armpit?" X-Ray had said. "The white boy sits around while the black boy does all the work. Ain't that right, Caveman?" "No, that's not right," Stanley replied. "No, it ain't," X-Ray agreed. "It ain't right at all." Stanley dug out another shovelful of dirt. He knew X-Ray wouldn't have been talking if he was one teaching Zero to read. The next X-Ray would be talking about how important it is he got his rest, right? So he would be a better teacher, right? And if that was true, he'd need to save his strength so he could be a better teacher. Although Zero was a quick learner, sometimes in fact Stanley hoped the warden was watching them and the secret cameras and microphones so she would know that Zero was as stupid as everyone thought. From across the lake she would see the approaching dust cloud, and he took a drink from his canteen. Then waited to see who was driving the truck. The swelling on Mr. Sir's face had gone down, but it was still a little puffy. There had been 3 scratch marks down his cheek. 2 of the marks had faded, but the middle scratch must have been the deepest because it still remained. It was a jagged purple line running below his eye and below his mouth, like a tattoo of a scar. Stanley waited in line, then handed him his canteen. Mr. Sir held it up his ear and shook it. He smiled at the swishing sound. Stanley hoped it wouldn't dump it out. To his surprise, Mr. Sir held his canteen on a stream of water and filled it. "Wait here," he said. Still holding Stanley's canteen, Mr. Sir walked past him and then walked around the side of the truck and into the cab, where he wouldn't be seen. "What's he doing in there?" asked Zero. "I wish I knew," said Stanley. A short while later, Mr. Sir came out of the truck and handed Stanley his canteen. It was still full. "Thank you, Mr. Sir." Mr. Sir smiled at him. "What are you waiting for?" he asked. "Drink up." He popped some sunflower seeds into his mouth, chewed, and spit out the shells. Stanley was afraid to drink it, but he hated to think what kind of vile substance Mr. Sir might have put in it. He brought the canteen back to his hole. For a long time he left it beside his hole and began to dig. Then when he was thirsty, he so hardly stayed anymore. He unscrewed the cap, turned the canteen over, and poured it over into the dirt. When he drank, afraid he waited for another second, he might have taken a drink. After Stanley caught 6 letters of the alphabet, he taught him to write his name. Capital Z-E-R-O. Zero wrote the letters. Stanley said to him, "Zero," he said, looking at a piece of paper. His smile was so big for his face. Stanley watched him write it over again, 0000000, in a way that made him sad. He couldn't help but think, but 100 times 0 was still nothing. "You know, that's not my real name," Zero said as they headed to the rec room for dinner. "Well, yeah," Stanley said, "I guess I knew that," he said. He'd never been sure. "Everyone's always called me Zero, even before I came here." "Oh, okay. My real name's Hector." "Hector," Stanley repeated. "Hector Zeroni." Chapter 28. After 20 years, Kate Barlow returned to Green Lake. It was a place where nobody would ever find her. A ghost town and a ghost lake. The peach trees had all died, but there were still a couple small oak trees still growing by an old abandoned cabin. The edge of the lake was over 5 miles away. It was a little over a small pond full of dirty water. She lived in a cabin beside. She could hear Sam's voice echoing across the emptiness. Onions, sweet fresh onions. She knew she was crazy. She knew she'd been crazy for the last 20 years. "Oh, Sam," she would say, speaking through the vast emptiness. "I know it is hot, but I feel so very cold. My hands are cold, my feet are cold, my face is cold, my heart is cold." But sometimes she would hear him say, "I can fix that," and she'd feel his warm arm across her shoulders. She had been living in the cabin for about 3 months when she was waked one morning by someone kicking open the cabin door. She opened her eyes to see a blurry end of a rifle 2 inches from her nose. She could smell the Trout Walker's dirty feet. "You've got exactly 10 seconds to tell me where you've hidden your loot," said Trout, "or else I'll blow your head off." She yawned. The red-headed woman was there with Trout. Kate would see her rummaging through the cabin, dumping drawers and knocking cameras of the cabinets. The woman came to her. "Where is it?" she demanded. "Linda Miller," asked Kate. "Is that you?" Linda Miller had been in the 4th grade when Kate Barlow was still a teacher. She had been a cute, freckle-faced girl with beautiful red hair. Now her face was blotchy and her hair was dirty and scraggly. "It's Winter Walker now," said Trout. "Oh, Linda, I'm so sorry," said Kate. Trout grabbed the throw of the rifle. "Where's the loot?" "There is no loot," said Kate. "Don't give me that. You robbed every bank from here to Houston." "You better call them," said Linda. "We're desperate." "You married him for his money, didn't you?" asked Kate. Linda nodded. "But it's all gone. It's dried up with the lake, the peach trees, the livestock. I kept thinking it was going to rain soon. The drought can't last forever." But it kept going hotter and hotter and hotter. Her eyes fixed in the shovel, which was leaning up against the fireplace. "She's buried it," she declared. "I don't know what you're talking about," asked Kate. And as a loud blast as Trout fired a rifle above her head, the window behind her shattered. "Where is it buried?" she demanded. "Go ahead and kill me, Trout," said Kate. "But sure, I hope you like to dig, because you're going to be digging a long time. It's a big vast wasteland out here. You and your children, their children, could dig for the next 100 years and you'll never find it." Linda grabbed Katie's hair and jerked her head back. "Oh, we're not going to kill you," she said. "But by the time we're finished with you, you're going to wish you were dead." "I've been wishing I was dead for the last 20 years, said Kate. They dragged her out of the bed and pushed her outside. She was born blue silk pajamas. Her turquoise strutted black boots remained beside her bed. She loosely tied her legs together so she could walk, but she couldn't run. She made her walk barefoot on the hot ground. They wouldn't help her stop walking. "Not until you take us to the loot," said Trout. Linda Kate on the back of her legs with a shovel. "You're going to take us to it sooner or later, so you might as well make it sooner." She walked one way to the other until her feet were black and blistered. Whenever she stopped, Linda whacked her with a shovel. "I'm losing my patience," warned Trout. She felt the shovel drive her into her back, and she fell onto the ground dirt. "Get up," ordered Linda. Kate struggled to her feet. "We're getting easy on you today," said Trout. "It's just going to keep getting worse and worse until you take us to it." "Look out," shouted Linda. A lizard leaped toward him. Kate could see its big red eyes. Linda tried to hit it with a shovel, but Trout shot at it, but they both missed. The lizard landed on Kate's bare ankle, its sharp black teeth digging into her leg. Its white tongue lapped around the droplets of blood that leaked through the wound. Kate smiled. There was nothing they could do about it anymore. "Start digging," she said. "Where is it?" Linda screeched. "Why did you bury it?" Tried to demand. Kate Barlow died laughing. And the next time, we're going to read part 2. What a good read. Honest. But hey, at least we learned the lore of Kate Barlow. 127 to what exactly? To 136? Is that true? Why not 144? Wouldn't that make more sense? Oh, whatever. 144. So, yeah. That's going to be it for today. So, I hope you guys have a fantastic, wonderful day. People like, be efficient. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.